So this is the take two of the Fox Grove podcast because the first time I did it, I didn't like it. I don't know why. I have this thing where I do things, I put all this effort into it, it takes hours to do, and then just one day I turn around and I say, you know what, fuck it, just delete it. Why not? Nobody said anything. Everybody that listened to it seemed to have liked it except like one or two people. Because, fuck me giving my opinions. Imagine that. I did a podcast and I gave my opinion, you know? So I didn't like it. I covered too many different topics that were like out of the realm of what I talk about on this channel. I don't know. I didn't like it. So I decided to redo it. I wanted to do a video. It's been a while since I've done, maybe a couple weeks since I've done a video on this channel, which I'll get into why. And I wanted to talk about a bunch of stuff and nothing really in particular. So I figured, hey, you know what, man? Remember that thing that I tried to do and I didn't like it and I deleted it? I put like 9 hours of work into it, edited it, and then just deleted it. You remember that thing? I should do that again. So that's what I'm going to do today. Before I start, just for the two people that watch me on this channel and have noticed my disappearance for the last couple weeks, your boy's going through some shit. All right, I'm going through some shit. I don't really want to get into it, but shit's kind of fucked right now for me. Life is taking a dump on me once again, which tends to happen every 3 or 4 years. So we've been here before, but it never gets easier. So I've not found myself very inspired to make videos, even though there's a lot of topics I'd like to cover. I've not really found the inspiration to focus down on one topic, edit it out, and do it. I've been due to do some historic videos that I haven't done in a while, and I just haven't. For that reason, all that bunch of stuff going on, health-wise, work-wise, personal life-wise, all this shit that I don't want to dump on everybody. So nobody wants to hear my depression rant here. So that's the thing about getting older. That's the thing that I learn as I get older. Like, nobody really gives a shit about you. It's kind of freeing in a way. Because sometimes I feel like, oh, what if I say this? Or what if I post that? What if I do this type of video? Or what if this happens? And I don't know, the younger I was, the more I felt like everybody cared. And the older I get, I realize like nobody gives a fuck about you. Like when it comes down to it, literally no one gives a shit about you. Like it's funny when you're good, everything's, hyped, life is going well, everyone's around you. As soon as, life takes a turn, it's like cockroaches. You turn on the light, everybody fucking runs away from you. That's the nice thing about being an adult. It's like the for my younger viewers, which there aren't many because this channel is mostly composed of me and another 4 or 5 boomers that watch me. So you guys probably know, but if there's someone out there and you're not a stone, and you're not a fossil like me, I shouldn't say that. I'm 28. I'm not that old, but you will realize that when you need people around you the most, they tend to scatter. Family, friends, and I'm not calling anyone out. Like my best friends my 1 or 2 best friends are kind of there, they've been there for me. So I'm not hating on anyone in particular, but it's just funny. Like on my day-to-day life, it feels like, everybody's always around you asking how you're doing. And as soon as you're not doing well, everybody fucking disappears. So that's why I haven't been posting, I'm not going through some major depression or anything like that. I feel like I'm already talking about myself here a little too much and not getting into what I wanted to actually talk about. But that's how this podcast is going to go. I feel like just rambling. I feel like just getting some shit off my chest, just rambling about life, a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, a little bit about the internet. That's what I'm going to do today. But yeah, that's the freeing thing too, when you're older and you realize nobody gives a flying shit about you. It's also freeing in the sense that nothing you really do matters, I feel like we spend a lot of our life concerned that all these different things we're going to do, someone's going to care, someone's going to say something, everybody's watching. Nobody's fucking watching. Nobody gives a shit. And that's kind of nice at the same time because then you can just do whatever the fuck you want. So that's what I've been doing. I've been not shaving. I've been not leaving my house. I've been just degrading as a human being for the last 2 weeks. So, should I change that? I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it in a way. I shouldn't fucking say that. No, it's been pretty terrible. If you've seen some of my like my older League of Legends videos, like I have one in particular that's titled like Final Advice. I talk a lot about different post-COVID health struggles that I've had. Been dealing with a lot of that for like the last 5 months, and particularly for a month, it's been awful. It has completely destroyed my life. It's completely destroyed my career. It's really fucked me up, dude, in so many different ways. Um, and I don't know, like the last month, for about the last 3 weeks or so, life just came crashing down on me. Um, and I've just been stressed. I haven't been depressed or anything like that. I've just been stressed, trying to figure shit out. Because the last time I was in this position was probably like, God, probably like 7 years ago, before I got married and, got my shit together. But probably like 7 years ago, maybe six, was the last time I was in this position. And fuck, it's familiar. It's familiar, and I did not miss it. I remember how much I fucking hate this. Like, you can tell things are fucked because I'm drinking that Folgers coffee, you know? If you're, for my, half of my audience is Brazilian. You guys might not get this reference, but for my American side of my audience here, you know what I'm talking about. To all of you guys out there that drink Folgers coffee, you know the struggle. You're a trooper, you're a warrior. I understand your struggle and I understand your reality. It fucking sucks. Uh, I'm kidding. It's not that bad. It's just like when you're trying to save money, you can't justify dumb purchases. Like I normally like Black Rifle coffee. That's what I like. And I'm like, you know what, man? There's a lot going on right now. Let me try to save. Where can I save? All right, I don't need to get like expensive coffee. I don't need to get Starbucks. Let me just, the Folgers. It's a good old American brand. Holy shit! Again, things are tough when you're drinking Folgers coffee. No hate if you like it, but. And my Brazilian audience will never get this reference because Brazilians don't know what bad coffee is. No offense. Y'all just don't. Because any of the shittiest coffee you buy in Brazil is better than the best coffee you ever have in the United States. So Brazilians don't get the Folgers coffee concept because they got that café pilão, café caboclo, três corações, they got that really good shit for dirt cheap. You cannot. There's just no such thing as bad coffee in Brazil. So y'all will never understand. We're over here in the north. We have our advantages in the United States. Coffee's not one of them. So I am pulling myself together. This is probably a video and a podcast I'm gonna delete again. Kind of like the first time I did a podcast and I deleted it. I don't even want to call this a fucking podcast because if it's a podcast, I feel like it's got all these connotations to it. There's stories I gotta cover. I gotta talk about this. I gotta talk about that. I can't curse, otherwise the video gets demonetized. And I don't want to do any of that shit. And I'm just starting to realize more and more, like, you know, YouTube really for me is just a hobby. Like, I don't want this to become a job because the moment it becomes a job, you start really, really caring what everybody thinks. You start censoring yourself, and it just stops being fun. And I don't want that to happen. So I just do this for fun. So that's what you got to understand with this. This is not a podcast. This is not a video I'm making. This is not for you. This is for me. This is therapy. Okay, you have been summoned, and I am imposing a therapy session on you. Okay? I'm not here to entertain you. I am imposing on you my problems and my most desperate moments of my life, and you're going to be my therapist and listen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually going to talk about some shit pretty soon. I just wanted to get some stuff off my chest here. That a lot of it I wish I could tell. I wish I could actually get into it, but it involves a lawsuit as well, and it involves me suing not someone, a certain corporation, right? It involves some legal action, and the more I get into the corporate world, I've been working since I was like fucking 15, 16 years old. My first job was at a grocery store. And the more like I climb in my career, the more I, get into corporate America and work for these different big companies and whatnot, the more I realize how fucked up the world is. And the more I realize that, you just can't give a shit about things. You just can't. Like, the only thing you can give a shit about is like your family, your health, and things that are on your dogs, your kids, things that are in your direct control. Because when you start giving a shit about your job, when you start giving a shit about your finances, when you start actually giving a shit about retiring one day, when you try to like care about things that, an adult should, it seems that, you just get disappointed. You know, we live in a really really weird time. So enough of that. Just so you guys know, I haven't abandoned my channel. I'm not posting not because I don't like you guys, not because I don't like this. There's just a mix of like suing a certain corporation, there being some problems with my work, clearly from what I'm saying, combined with some massive health issues that just don't go away. I feel bad saying this, but I feel like a fucking cancer patient, even though I don't have that, thank God. And as someone who's seen a lot of my family members, including my mother, die of cancer, I shouldn't be saying that, but sometimes it feels like it. You know? You get older, you know, your body starts failing you. You get sick here and there. All of a sudden, you're not over it in a week. 3 years go by and you're still fucking sick. And, you still have to somehow work even though you're fucking sick. And if you don't, you get evicted, which that hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. But it just sucks, That's just what getting older is, I guess, right? You start getting, you start degrading, your friends disappear from high school. That girl from high school you used to like, she got fat, your uncle died, your friends, like your 10, 20 friends, now you just got two. You used to be in good shape, now you're not, you know. That's just like anybody out there that's young, that's what you have to look forward to. No, I'm just kidding. It's not like that. It's not that bad. All right, let's actually talk about something. Let me actually stop depression dumping on the audience and let's actually get into what I've been doing lately. All right? Cuz I've been playing some Yu-Gi-Oh. All right? And I'm going to talk about that because I did a poll one day here on the channel. It seems like a lot of people that are subscribed to this channel, the vast majority, are here to listen about Yu-Gi-Oh. And it's kind of funny. I said this on another video. Like, it's interesting that there's so many people that are subscribed to this channel for the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that I do. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because that's the more popular video that I did here. But it's just like I never have anything good to say, right? So why would people want me to continue talking about it? It's like this cycle of like hatred. You hate the game, I hate the game. Let's hate the game together, right? That's what this channel is about. And it's really not. Like, I realized I reconnected with old Yu-Gi-Oh last 2 weeks, and I realized how much I love the game, man, and how good it used to be. I got an Odin too. If you don't know what an Odin is, it's very cool, very powerful, like handheld Game Boy kind of thing. It's an emulator device, right? And I got to play all the old Yu-Gi-Ohs that I had never played for the DS before, and I've been playing a lot of the all the Tag Force games too. I had never gotten a chance to play the Tag Force for the PSP, and I finally got a chance to do that. And I didn't realize how much I was missing out. Like, if you have not played the old Yu-Gi-Oh Tag Force games, especially Tag Force 3 and Tag Force 5, I highly recommend it, man. That is like Yu-Gi-Oh at its peak. Which makes me realize, and other older ones like for the DS2, like Spirit Caller, Nightmare Troubadour, and World Championship 2008 and 2011. Those are like my favorite games of all time, including the Tag Force now 3 and Tag Force 5, which just joined the top of that list that I had never gotten a chance to play. Dude, I so recommend these games, and it's crazy because sometimes I feel like, when I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm like, oh man, I'm becoming that old guy, not only from the get off my lawn side of things, but from the, oh, things used to be better. Things used to be better. Back in the day, the game was better, and you kids just don't understand how much better the game was and how trash it is now, even though there ain't no kids that play Yu Gi Oh, dude. It's all. Everybody that plays Yu Gi Oh is a boomer, which is, the game hasn't managed to bring in a whole lot of new players, but it's managed to retain a lot of the audience, a good chunk of it, like myself, purely on the nostalgia factor. But I find myself thinking, man, maybe it was never that good, Even though I play Goat and Edison and those are always fun, I'm like, maybe it wasn't that good, GX era, Dual Monsters era. Maybe I'm just like remembering it with a nostalgia lens. And then I go and I play these games and I'm like, no, this is objectively fun. I've been here for frickin' 36 hours playing this thing. I haven't showered, I haven't had lunch or dinner. I'm just decomposing on the couch for hours on end, and this is the best time I've ever had. What has happened? And that's what I'm realizing, especially playing the Tag Force games. You really get to see, because Tag Force 3 is all the GX era. That is probably my favorite there of the Tag Force games, and Nightmare Troubadour is like the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! And you really realize just from, not only is there a massive nostalgia because the anime characters, the anime decks, you want to play the anime decks and stuff. The characters were a lot more iconic. Like, has anybody? What was even the name for the fucking Pendulum anime when that came out? Of V-Arc or some shit like that. Like, did anybody even watch that? Like, did anybody actually watch that? Because I stopped 5Ds. I tried get into the Zixel one with the little kid. That was also shit. Like, did anybody actually like that? You know? And then what do we get after that? We got the new one now that has the rush duels. That's shit too. Rush duels is cool, but the anime is also shit. Like, what happened, man? Who's making these animes now? Cause I rewatched the OG Yu-Gi-Oh, the anime. Fucking amazing. Especially Joey's Italian accent. That's my favorite. I go and I watch freaking and let me just talk about the OG Yu-Gi-Oh. I've said this on my on a video that I've done before too, but God, how much better the theme of the game was. Just every duel, every game is like a duel for your life. Kaiba's like threatening to kill himself. Joey's got to win the tournament, otherwise his sister's not going to be able to pay the surgery and she's going to go blind. Yugi's trying to rescue his grandpa from the Shadow Realm. Kaiba's trying to save his brother because there's like a corporate takeover of his family and his brother got locked up. It's just like there's all this fucked up shit going on. And in the middle of that, like Yugi's getting kidnapped to duel this guy that whoever wins goes to doesn't go to the Shadow Realm, doesn't go to hell. And there's all these like occult, demonic, badass themes going on. Every game feels like two people doing witchcraft. That's what it feels like, Like if you got together with your buddies and you went in the middle of a forest and you sacrificed a goat, and you prayed to rain. That's what old Yu-Gi-Oh feels like. It feels like every game is like a witchcraft session. It's like, let's get together and let's do some shit that we shouldn't do. Let's make a bet and whoever loses has to sell their soul to the devil. That's what that feels like. And it was so good. So good. But you know what? I rewatched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was pretty good too. Even though it was a lot more lighthearted, it was a lot more, less adult. It was really, really good too. And then I rewatched 5Ds, and 5Ds was really good too. The animes. Let's not get into the game just yet. And 5Ds was really, really good. The themes were really fun. And then I got to the Pendulum one, Arc or whatever it's called, or not even that. Before it was I got into the Zixel, and then I couldn't watch it because it was so trash. Then I tried to get into the Arc one. I couldn't watch it because it was so trash. Then I got into the Sevens. I couldn't watch it because it was so trash. And I'm just thinking, like, who's getting fucking hired to do these animes now? Like, what? Where's Kazuki, man? Like, whoever took over the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, you need to go do something else and not be making animes. Because everything y'all have done for, like, the last fucking 10 years has been absolute shit. And maybe I'm alone in this opinion, but I can tell that it's not nostalgia, okay? I can tell that it's not just nostalgia, even from the game. As I'm playing the Tag Force games, I'm playing, the GX era version of the game, which, mind you, it's pretty cool because The computer's actually pretty good. A hard time that I have sometimes with video games is they're not challenging enough and they don't engage me as much, especially like being a veteran in the Yu-Gi-Oh scene. Especially being a veteran in the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, it's really easy to beat the computer, and this is not hard or anything, but it's much more playable, right? And as I'm playing, I'm like, holy shit, man, I don't have to win the game in one turn. Wow, my opponent doesn't win the game in one turn. Wow, I actually get to set a card and end my turn. What do you know? You can actually play the fucking game without it being like a 10 combo chain of events that are happening, and having to read 10 different walls of text and getting to a point where you're just slamming your head on the keyboard or on the A button to make the plays move forward. That's how Master Duel is. Just okay. I don't even read in Master Duel what the fuck is going on anymore. I just keep hitting the button so that my turn will get to me eventually, or that the game will just fucking end. That's how Master Duel is. This one, I'm playing it, and I'm like, holy shit! I normal summon Destiny Hero Diamond Dude. I set Sakuretsu armor. My opponent goes and summons another monster, plays a spell, and then it's my turn, and then it's his. Holy shit, the game actually goes back and forth, and it's actually engaging, and I'm actually having a good time, which I haven't had with Yu-Gi-Oh in fucking 10 years. What is going on? That's not nostalgia. It's not me going like, oh, the old times were better because I remembered them that way. No. Yu-Gi-Oh just unfortunately is like the dad that used to be cool and then started drinking and then went to buy cigarettes and never came back. That's what it is. And I guess that if you don't qualify to go to Worlds, if you're not part of it, you don't get to watch it. Like, it's really not just like this nostalgia or this like memory clouded by nostalgia. The game was actually better. And then I skip to Tag Force 5, right? Which is where we get into the 5Ds era. And dude, that's immediately where you see that things started going south with Yu-Gi-Oh! It was at the 5Ds era. I, for the longest time, have said I cannot pinpoint exactly where the game went bad. I don't know when this started happening. It was the fucking 5Ds era, okay? And this is coming from someone where my favorite era, the era where I grew up competitively playing Yu-Gi-Oh, going to state tournaments, locals, and things like that, really was at the end of the GX era and when the 5Ds era started. When Stardust Dragon came out and it was that beginning of the 5Ds era, that was like my peak with Yu-Gi-Oh competitively, right? So this is not coming from a place of someone that played Duel Monsters, played a little bit of GX and quit. No. The most I've invested financially and time-wise in Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe not time-wise, but that I actually went to tournaments, was during the 5Ds era. Was with the synchros. So this is not coming from a place where I don't like the anime. I love the 5Ds anime. It's not coming from a place where I didn't participate on that era and I just don't get it. That is the active era that I played the game the most. But that is when the game went to shit. That is when things got too fast. And, I started playing, with like a Crystal Beast deck and that. And I'm like, okay, it's still fun and I like playing the GX era decks into the 5Ds decks just for the challenge, to be honest, because otherwise it gets easy. Because after a while, I just went ahead and I made like an X-Saber Edison deck and it got easy, right? But that I can recognize that is really, I finally, for myself, everybody has their fucking opinion. Everybody's entitled to it. But for me, I have finally been able to really pinpoint where Yu-Gi-Oh started going to shit. And it pains me to say that it was the 5Ds era. Why does it pain me to say? Because I'm an X-Saber player. I'm a Six Samurai player. I'm a Blackwing player. All these famous classic 5Ds archetypes, I own those decks. I actively played them. And those are my favorite decks of all times. If I try to think of what deck I played during the GX era, I think I played Destiny Heroes. That's what I played. And it was fun, don't get me wrong, but I really got into the game competitively during the 5Ds era. And that is my quote-unquote favorite era. But even I, in this position, I can recognize that that is when the game went to shit. It got too fast. Hence why they're riding motorcycles while they're playing. It got too fast. Why there's tuners, they're tuning the monsters or whatever, trying to go for that, you know, car machinery tuning inspiring thing and motorcycles. Yeah, that's where the game got too fast. The anime was still good, but the game got too fast. And I am a big fan of. I've talked a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh art, right? I've talked a lot of shit. I've said a lot of things that people got real upset with me on the channel. Called me a boomer. I said that the art for the game now is waifus and lollies. I said that the art of the game now is just shit. And anything past the dual monsters era is just shit. All right, that's not completely true. Because I do like the art for the 5D era still. It's not as good, it's not as memorable and iconic as the OG one, as the dual monsters. But, dude, I love Stardust Dragon. Like, I think Junk Warrior, the synchro for Junk Synchron, dude, that is one of my favorite looking cards. I love the look of that card. I love robots in general. I love mechs. I'm a big Gundam fan. Anything that has robots in it, anything that has mechs, ancient gear golems and all that, dude, I love, right? Even then, like the theme was cool, the anime was cool, everything was cool except the fucking gameplay. And even the gameplay was cool. But I can see that that's where the trend started of the power creep. Because you try to play the GX era decks against the synchro decks, even the early ones, when we're talking like Colossal Fighter came out, Gaia, Junk Warrior, Stardust Dragon, Red Eyes Dragon Archfiend, the very first ones, even then, you start realizing the drastic change of pace that the game has and how much it power crept onto the previous generations, which everybody knows. That's kind of a problem that Yu-Gi-Oh has had, and I've talked about a lot, where in order to keep selling cards, we keep making the cards more and more broken. And that is the point that I realized where, wow, they really went crazy here. Because from the GX era even, it already got a little bit crazy, but the game had plenty of back and forth. The really crazy combos started around the 5Ds era. It wasn't as annoying of a game, but it got really fucking fast. And you started being able to special summon non-stop 5 guys on the board on the same turn. That's where shit started getting wild, and I finally have been able to pinpoint it. On other news, other than what I've been doing and talking about old Yu-Gi-Oh, I saw now that Konami's World YCS for Yu-Gi-Oh, pretty much now you don't get to watch it. Like, people who aren't actively playing or are a part of it, you don't get to go watch it. Like, I think it was in Seattle or something, and they already announced ahead of time, hey, peasants, if you're not with the fucking program, you don't get to watch it. Why? Because we don't fucking like you, you fucking casual. That's basically what Konami has said. So for all the people, not me, because I haven't been that into the game in a long time, but for all the people that actually wanted to go to Worlds, and this was actually like, hey, it's in Seattle or wherever the fuck, I'm pretty sure it's Seattle. It's fairly close, right? If you're in the US, I could actually go and watch this. You don't get to. Why? Because you're fucking poor, you're a fucking peasant, and Konami doesn't like you. You're a casual, you like the anime. Who the fuck even watches anime? You're still playing a Dark Magician deck. We don't want you here. That's what they said. And it never ceases to amaze me how much Konami just wants to like push the casual player out. Like, push the people that have jobs out. I don't know, I'm just kidding. I'm sure a lot of non-casual people have jobs, especially to be able to afford Yu-Gi-Oh! You probably have a job. But it just never ceases to amaze me. Like, it's crazy. Konami does so much nostalgia baiting for the OG players like me, right? They do so much nostalgia bait. So many, like, they released those Sherpa Fleas or whatever that have the Dark Magician girl, and the blue eyes, which no red eyes for whatever reason, but whatever. They release all these products that are always, the face of Yu-Gi-Oh! Till this day, they use the face of Yu-Gi-Oh! As Dark Magician Blue Eyes, Exodia. They still use the OG cards as the face of the fucking game to appeal to those returning players. But when those returning players try to get into the game and they're like, hey, this is cool that the game went on, but I'd like to play what I used to play. Is there like a format? Is there like a way I can still play with the deck that I used to play when I was 12? Is there a way to like get back into it. Nope, fuck you. We don't support any of that shit. You're either going to play a combo deck or you're going to play a floodgate deck, and you better get on with Snake Eyes because now that's all that you get to play. Or when it was Tier Elements or when it was Kashtira, you play the top tier deck and you play mirror matches, and if you don't like it, shut the fuck up. That's what you get to play. Oh, okay, but I saw the blue eyes and I saw the dark magician and I thought that you thought wrong. You thought wrong. You get to play Snake Eyes. Shut the fuck up and play Snake Eye. That's Konami, dude. That is Konami. Konami has turned into the drunk abusive uncle. They used to be cool, and now he's always drunk on Christmas. He's always talking shit, making your mom cry, and just ruining the party for everybody. That's Konami now, you know? And it really sucks, man, because I've said this before. Like, I wish we could just live in a world where, power creep didn't exist, that we printed out the cards, the decks, and that was it for like a year, and nothing else came out. That's the other thing. Like, there's so much crap coming out for Yu-Gi-Oh all the time. It's so hard to stay on top of it, and it's such like a dumb waste of money. It's like, if you buy a board game, right? There's a board game. What's the board game? It's called Seven Wonders. I love that game. Okay, it's if you haven't played Seven Wonders, it's a great board game. You buy it, and it's a self-contained game that is really fun. And then they release some DLCs, so you can buy expansions for the game, and it enhances the game and makes it more fun. But it doesn't make it so the other things that were on the game before now become obsolete, and you can only use the new stuff. It complements the previous stuff. I'm going somewhere with this. Bear with me. That's what I'm saying is the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! The new stuff that comes out replaces and overhauls. Well, overhaul is probably not the right word. It completely replaces the original stuff. I would enjoy if new support for the game that comes out enhances the original game versus completely fucking changing it. And that's what I've said it's about doing a tier system. I've said this on this channel like 20 times. Doing a tiered system where the game is divided by eras and generations, and these different formats are like the GX format, the 5Ds format, the OG Dual Monsters format, the crazy modern one, and you release cards that are specifically new for each of these formats. Because I've said before, Golden Edison gets stale because there's no new product, right? But if you release support for existing archetypes and don't make the new cards broken, just make them complement the game in some way without creating a brand new mechanic, brand new summoning mechanic like Link did or Pendulum or whatever. Just complement the game the way it already is. I think that that would be so much better than this complete like overhaul and replacing the game and replacing the meta every time a new set comes out. I think that that would be a lot better. But obviously they don't do that because they're constantly trying to sell new product. And it worries me, and it's sad because I do think that that has been the death of the game, and ultimately it will be what makes people not play the game anymore. Like, it gives the game almost like a shelf life. Like, things are coming out for it, and we're over tuning them more and more and more so that people will buy it. And at some point, people are going to get like consumer fatigued of it and mechanic fatigued. And the game is already so overcomplicated and convoluted, and there's just so much to it already. And they've lost touch so much with the original player base that I don't really see the game not dying at some point. It surprises the shit out of me that it's been continuing on for so long, but that's what I would like to see. And if that's not a possibility where we can just kind of release the game and let it fucking be for a while, because we constantly have to do new stuff and release new stuff, then, and we don't want to do new formats, right? We don't want to make different formats, then man, like, can we just get rotation? Like, I know a lot of people don't like this. I know a lot of people, but you got to understand that Yu-Gi-Oh already has rotation. Like, it might as well have. Through a ban list, the game already has rotation. And through the releases of new cards and new archetypes that completely replace the old ones, you already have rotation, but you have a crappier rotation where one new archetype comes out and replaces the entire meta, and now you just get mirror matches for 6 months. That's the current state. Wouldn't it be better if we just got a rotation where the game didn't change, Nothing power crept. It's kind of the same, but with rotating different cool stuff and themes and new cards. And maybe every so many months it goes back to the old one. I don't know. Wouldn't that be better than constantly having to replace your deck for the new meta deck than just play mirror matches for a few months? Then the deck you just bought and spent $1,000 on goes and gets banned. And then you buy the new $1,000 meta deck and then it gets banned. And then you buy the. You know what I mean? I just feel like Yu-Gi-Oh already has rotation, and it does it in a sneaky, deceitful way. Where can we just get proper rotation already if we're gonna do this, And if we're not gonna do this, can we get different formats already? Like I feel like this is like the solution everybody keeps saying, and it just doesn't get done. Can we get different formats for the game? You know? And if we're gonna get formats, why don't we do the thing that I love the most? Like I love Destiny Heroes, right? Elemento. I love the heroes in general. It's so cool that they had the original heroes for all these different hero archetypes, and till very well in the future they've released some support. Like there's new Destiny heroes, there's new Elemental heroes, there's new even Crystal Beast. For a while they were doing some new stuff for that. Like, isn't that cool having things supplement these existing things? And obviously the new stuff completely trumps the older ones, and maybe it doesn't need to be like that, but they're obviously trying to bring things up to speed. But I feel like that's so much cooler, building on these iconic archetypes that people love versus always feeding us some new shit every 2 months. Like you can't even get into it. You can't even digest it. You can't even afford it, you know? And something else already comes out. They need to slow the fuck down, man. They really need to slow down. And, when I play older formats and I play older Yu-Gi-Oh games like the ones I was mentioning for the consoles, I realize, man, I didn't lose the love for the game. Like the love is actually bigger than it ever was. It's still there. I just really don't like the new shit, man. I really don't like the current game, and I really wish there was a space where people who enjoy the old stuff can still play, you know? And I get it. There's some locals where you can play Edison, and that's cool. And I do play Dueling Book and stuff like that. But you know what I would love to see? I would love to see Master Duel support those formats. I'd love to play Master Duel Goat, Master Duel Edison. Why can't we have that? Like, why does it always have to be the game? And for me, that's personally very important because I don't like playing the physical game. Not only do I find it a waste of money, I find it way too expensive for what it is. I feel like there's too much text card interaction for it to be played in person now. It's too complicated. So the assistance of a computer is very helpful. So I really like playing the digital version of things. Furthermore, I am hesitant to say this, but I don't really want to interact with most Yu-Gi-Oh players. Like this community fucking sucks. Like maybe this is just like my experience because as a content creator on Reddit and things like that, like our Yu-Gi-Oh and our Master Duel, but the community for this fucking game just fucking sucks. The people that play this game are so goddamn insufferable. Like I fucking hate this community. And I'm not saying I hate you. Like obviously I'm part of the community. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh and you're cool, you're part of the community. I'm not talking about you individually. Don't get butthurt. I'm not saying you. I hate you. I hate everyone that likes Yu-Gi-Oh. That's not what I'm saying. In general, this community is so fucking toxic, man. It is such a toxic community. I don't like playing this game in person. I don't like interacting with the community on Reddit. I don't like interacting with the vast majority of the community. The only place that I've found some cool ass players that still play the game is on Dueling Book. And that's still a minority. The vast majority of people that play on Dueling Book are such fucking assholes too. But I've met some really cool people playing there. There is a good 20% of the community that is really cool. But there's like a solid half to like 70-80% that is just so fucking insufferable, man. And so fucking annoying. And just like the average fucking Redditor that I don't want to go to card shops and interact with these people. Like it's night and day when I go interact with like the Yu-Gi-Oh locals, when I go play locals. That is, and locals still kind of cool, but when you interact with the Yu-Gi-Oh community versus when you interact with say the Flesh and Blood community, dude, the Flesh and Blood community is so cool. Obviously, there's always a shithead in there somewhere, right? But in general, The Flesh and Blood community is so welcoming. They're so cool. I have such a good time playing that game in person. And when I play Yu-Gi-Oh, it's just I don't vibe with the community. I just don't. And online with the barrier of like anonymity, it's even worse. People suck even worse. So I don't want to play in person with anyone. Yeah, I don't. Like I don't want to go, but spend $1,000 on my deck and then go to my fucking card shop and interact with all these fucking assholes. I just want to play online. Like the good antisocial, you know, home dwelling boomer that I am. Like I just want to play on the computer. I don't want to interact with people and play the paper game. But it seems that to play Edison, the only viable way other than Dueling Book is going to like local tournaments for Edison and Goat. And that community tends to be a little bit cooler and a little bit nicer. People are less try hardy and less annoying. But still, I would really like Master Duel to support these formats. I really would like to see that because I think Master Duel is such a well developed, a well done, beautiful game. It's just that it sucks. It's just that the modern game sucks, and I don't want to play that. I want to play the old shit. Can we get that on Master Duel? Like, how hard is it for us to be able to get that on Master Duel? And I am 70, 80% sure that they'll never do that because they don't want to miss out on sales for the new game. And gosh, is that just the like just a curse of getting old? Things start to just suck. Like the franchises and things you used to like, they just slowly become shit. Like Pokemon. I used to love the Pokemon games. I went back to playing like Emerald, Pokemon Red, like all the old Pokemons. And then you compare them to, and you think like, okay, so I played the modern Pokemon games. I'm like, this is way too easy. This fucking sucks. Like, am I just like older now and I'm not like a dumbass little kid and the game is just easier because I'm older? Like, am I the problem? And I go and I play Pokemon Emerald. No, I'm not the fucking problem. The game is way better. What happened? Just over time, we started wanting to cater to X or Y or Z or focus more on profit versus doing an actual good game and making sure we get one release out every single fucking year, no matter how bad the game is. And it just sucked over time. Same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Same thing with everything. It's not just like the curse of getting older. You watch the things you love go to shit and become bad. Is that what it is? I don't know. And it's really like not like a time capsule moment of like, dude, I really just want to stay stuck in the 80s for the rest of my life. The 90s were way better or whatever. It's not like that. I would still like new things to come out for the game. I would still like to see rotation and new cards, but I just don't need the game to have a complete overhaul. Like you can release new stuff. Like I've enjoyed the support that came out, like X Sabers when the XX Sabers came out, when the new Scrap Monsters came out to support the junk decks, when the support for the Dark Magician decks, the support for the Red Eyes, the support for the Blue Eyes came out, support for Elemental Heroes, support for Destiny Heroes, the Masked Heroes came out. All of that is cool, man. All of that is dope. Why don't they keep doing that? You know, I just don't need a complete overhaul of the entire game and a whole new way to play and changing the board and summoning mechanic every 3 to 6 fucking months. Like, let's just have the game the way it is and enhance it a little bit here and there without completely breaking it. Like, just stop breaking the game. Anyway, that is my rant. I didn't know what to talk about here, so I just wanted to rant about what was going on. What's on my mind and what was going on in my life and in the last few days. I have some videos planned out here for the following weeks. Bear with me. Different people are subscribed for different reasons to this channel, so I am trying to accommodate everybody. So even if you see a type of video that you don't like, be sure that I do polls and things like that. I see what people want to watch. I know that there are people that are subscribed here for certain types of content and other for others. So I highly encourage you to use the playlist feature, and you can kind of see what you're really here for if you're not here for everything. And if you're not here for the podcast or whatever, there'll be a specific playlist just for that. If you're not into the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, you're into historic stuff, there'll be a playlist for that. If you like show reviews, I'll do that. And, you know, I prefer doing things that way. Like I never want this channel to have a niche. I've said that before, and I'm sorry if you're only here for one type of content, I'm sorry. It's just because I can't cover the same things. Like it's not my job, and I get bored with things, I get bored, right? So it's tough for me. Like I know the vast majority of people that are subscribed to this channel are here for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I will always, in some way, shape, or format, continue to talk about it, right? If I get back into Master Duel, I'll do stuff on that. I like talking about it, I like making content for it. But as you can tell from this rant and from my other videos, I'm not that much into the game anymore, right? I play it in different capacities, especially Edison and Goat. Maybe I should do more videos on that. But I can't just do Yu-Gi-Oh because I'm not happy with the way the game is, and it's not healthy for me to just talk about things that I'm not enjoying and just ranting every single video. Maybe that's what you like. That seems to be what people enjoy. Um, but just bear with me. Every now and again, I'm gonna do something different because this is for me like this is a creative outlet. Like this is not my job. It is just a creative outlet. I do this just for fun. So in order to keep things fun and not repetitive and not stale, I'm gonna bounce around different topics and different videos. So bear with me. And if you only want to watch one type of content, use the playlist feature so you don't frustrate yourself with watching the other garbage that I put out. So if you enjoy the podcast, let me know, like and subscribe, share the podcast, even though this is more of something that I don't know if I'm going to do another one of these. I enjoy doing these just because they don't have a set topic that I need to talk about. Even though this one kind of did. Sometimes when you make a video, you have to just talk about that and there's other things you want to cover. So it's kind of nice to do a podcast format where maybe I can cover things that are going on the internet in general. Even if it's like just Yu-Gi-Oh or just one topic, it's nice to cover multiple different things and have like more of this stream of conscious video that I can do every now and again. It's kind of therapeutic, honestly. It's kind of fun. I enjoy doing these. So I don't know if I'll ever do an episode 2 for this. I might, just for the hell of it. I don't know if I'll delete this or if I'll keep it up. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.